First contact in the deep. The void between stars held secrets that Captain Sarah Chen had spent her entire career trying to uncover. But as she guided her research vessel, the stellar horizon, through the ghostly remains of what appeared to be an ancient space station, she realized she might have found more than she bargained for. The massive structure hung in space like a forgotten crown, its curved sections wrapped in strange, bioluminescent patterns that pulsed with an almost organic rhythm. Energy readings are off the charts, Captain, her science officer, Dr. Marcus Wong, reported from his station. Whatever this place is, it's not as dead as it looks. Sarah nodded, her dark eyes fixed on the strange patterns that seemed to dance across the station's surface. After 20 years of deep space exploration, she'd learned to trust her instincts. Right now, they were screaming that she was about to make history, or a terrible mistake. "Take us in closer," she ordered, "but maintain distance from any active sectors. I want a full scan before we even think about sending a team aboard." The stellar horizon glided forward, its sensors prodding the ancient structure. The station was massive, easily dwarfing their research vessel, with architecture that defied human engineering principles. Curved sections merged with crystalline spires, and what looked like organic matter had grown into and through the metallic surfaces. "Captain," Marcus called out, his voice tight with urgency, "I'm picking up something impossible." Sarah turned to face him. "Define impossible." "Human life signs, multiple readings. Children, based on the biosignatures. But they're not alone. There's something else in there with them. Something big." Before Sarah could respond, the station's surface began to shift. Sections that had appeared solid suddenly became transparent, revealing vast chambers within. And there, floating in what looked like suspended animation, were dozens of human children, each surrounded by a cocoon of shifting light. But it was their guardians that made Sarah's breath catch in her throat. Towering beings of crystalline light and organic matter moved among the children, their forms reminiscent of Earth's mythical dragons. They were beautiful and terrifying, with wings that seemed to capture starlight and bodies that merged seamlessly with the station's architecture. "My God," Marcus whispered, "they're protecting them." Sarah watched as one of the creatures gently adjusted a child's suspension field, its movements precise and careful despite its massive size. This wasn't a prison or laboratory. It was a sanctuary. "Captain," her communications officer, Lieutenant Yuki Tanaka, called out, "We're receiving a transmission. It's in multiple frequencies, including some we shouldn't be able to detect." "Put it through," Sarah ordered, bracing herself. The bridge filled with light, and a voice that wasn't quite a voice resonated through their minds. "We are the Luminary. We have waited long for this moment." Sarah stepped forward, her heart pounding but her voice steady. "I am Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth research vessel Stellar Horizon. Why do you have our children?" "To save them. To save us all." The response came with images, glimpses of a universe far vaster and more complex than humanity had imagined. "They are the bridge, Captain. The next step in both our species' evolution." "Evolution?" Marcus questioned. "These children are different. They carry within them the ability to interface with technology beyond your current understanding. Technology that will be needed when the void arrives." More images flooded their minds. A darkness between galaxies, something that consumed light and life itself. The Luminary had been fighting it for millennia, searching for a way to stop its advance. And somehow, human children held the key. "Why didn't you contact us directly?" Sarah asked. "Why the secrecy? Your species is young, capable of great beauty and terrible destruction. We had to be certain you were ready. These children were not taken. They were saved from a genetic condition your medicine cannot yet cure. Here they live. Here they grow stronger." Sarah looked at the children again, floating peacefully in their cocoons of light. Each one had probably been given up for dead on Earth, their parents mourning losses that weren't really losses at all. "Captain," Marcus said softly, Their genetic patterns, they're evolving. Whatever these beings are doing, they're helping our children become something new, something incredible. Sarah felt the weight of history on her shoulders. This moment would change everything. Humanity's place in the universe, their understanding of evolution, their very future as a species. "We need to contact Earth," she began, but alarms cut her off. Multiple ships dropping out of FTL. Yuki shouted. Military signatures. They're powering weapons. The luminaries' presence in their minds turned urgent. "The purifiers come. They believe we experiment on your young. They do not understand. Captain Sarah Chen, you must help us protect the children. The future depends on it." Sarah watched as the warships approached, their intentions clear. Humanity's first contact with an advanced alien species, and already they were on the brink of war. But as she looked at the children in their glowing cocoons, at the luminary who had dedicated themselves to protecting humanity's future, she knew there was only one choice. "Battle stations," she ordered. "Lieutenant Tanaka, broadcast on all frequencies. Marcus, I want everything we've learned about this station and the children ready to transmit. We're going to make them understand, one way or another." As her crew rushed to their positions, Sarah stared out at the approaching warships. She had come seeking humanity's place among the stars. Instead, she had found humanity's future, and she would die before letting anyone destroy it. The luminary moved through the station, their crystalline forms shifting into defensive positions. The children slept on, unaware that their sanctuary was about to become a battlefield. And in the space between stars, Captain Sarah Chen prepared to fight for a future bigger than anyone had imagined. The real first contact was about to begin. The Guardian's truth. The stellar horizon's shields flared as another warning shot streaked past their bow. Sarah stood firm on her bridge, watching as the purifier vessels took up attack positions around the ancient station. Their sleek, predatory forms contrasted sharply with the organic architecture of the luminary sanctuary. "They're hailing us," Yuki reported, her fingers dancing across her console. "It's Admiral Harrison." Sarah had hoped it wouldn't be him. James Harrison was famous for his hardline stance against alien contact, and infamous for his methods of dealing with what he called xenothreats. She took a deep breath and nodded. "Put him through." The Admiral's weathered face appeared on the main screen, his expression carved from granite. "Captain Chen, stand down and withdraw from the station. This is a military operation now." "With all due respect, Admiral, you're making a terrible mistake. The luminary aren't our enemies. They're protecting those children, helping them survive conditions that would have killed them on Earth." Harrison's eyes narrowed. "They're experimenting on human children, Captain. Don't let their light show fool you. Stand down, or you'll be charged with treason." The luminary's voice echoed through Sarah's mind, private this time. "He fears what he does not understand, but there is more at stake than he knows. Show them." Sarah straightened. "Admiral, before you do anything rash, there's something you need to see." She nodded to Marcus, who began transmitting their scans and recordings. "These children aren't victims. They're humanity's next step forward." The data streamed across the screen. Detailed scans showing how the children's DNA was being carefully, precisely enhanced. Not altered or mutated, but guided toward its full potential. The luminary were like gardeners tending to rare flowers, helping them bloom into something extraordinary. "Look at the genetic markers," Sarah continued. "These children were born with a rare condition that would have killed them within their first year. The luminary found a way to not just save them, but to help them evolve into something more, something that could help both our species survive what's coming." "And what exactly is coming, Captain?" Harrison's voice dripped with skepticism. The largest of the luminary moved forward, its crystalline form casting prismatic light across the station's interior. Through their shared mental link, it projected images not just to Sarah's crew, but to every human ship in range. They saw it then, the void, a vast nothingness that consumed everything in its path, leaving not even darkness behind. It moved between galaxies like a cancer, growing larger with each world it devoured. The luminary had been fighting it for millennia, searching for a way to stop its advance. The children, Sarah explained, her voice tight with emotion. They can interface with ancient technologies we barely understand. Technologies we'll need when the void reaches our galaxy. The luminary aren't experimenting on them. They're preparing them. Preparing us all. Harrison was silent for a long moment, studying the data scrolling across his screen. Even if what you're saying is true, Captain, we can't just leave human children in alien custody. The political fallout alone would be nothing compared to the fallout of attacking beings who have spent centuries protecting our species. Sarah cut in. Admiral, think about it. They could have taken anyone. Instead, they chose to save children who were already dying, giving them a chance not just at life, but at becoming something extraordinary. The luminary's mental voice resonated again, this time broadcasting to all. We offer truth. The station's walls became transparent, revealing chambers upon chambers, filled with children floating in their luminescent cocoons. But now they could also see the vast library of knowledge stored within the station's crystalline matrix, the accumulated wisdom of countless civilizations, all preserved and protected by the luminary. Your children are not prisoners. They are pioneers. The first of your kind to bridge the gap between organic life and cosmic consciousness. Through them, both our species will evolve. Through them, we will survive. One of the children stirred in their cocoon, eyes opening slowly. Light danced across their skin as they reached out, not with their hand but with their mind, connecting with the station's systems. Displays flickered to life, showing star maps and cosmic phenomena that human science had yet to discover or understand. My God, Harrison whispered, they really can interface with it. Admiral, Sarah pressed her advantage. Think about what this means for humanity. We're not just looking at first contact, we're looking at the next chapter in human evolution. A chance to become something greater than we ever imagined. The tension on the bridge was palpable as Harrison considered her words. Finally, he spoke. Stand by, Captain. I need to contact Earth Command. The transmission cut off. Sarah let out a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. It wasn't a victory, but it was a start. She turned to her crew, seeing the same mix of awe and determination on their faces that she felt in her heart. What now, Captain? Marcus asked. Now, Sarah replied, watching as more children began to stir, their consciousness reaching out to the ancient technology around them. We make sure everyone understands what's really at stake here. The luminary moved among their charges, their crystalline forms pulsing with pride and purpose. They had waited centuries for this moment. The moment when humanity would finally understand their role in the cosmic dance of evolution. The bridge between worlds opens, they communicated. Your children lead the way, but the path ahead is not without danger. Sarah nodded, understanding the warning in their words. The purifiers might be temporarily held at bay, but this was just the beginning. Somewhere out there, the void continued its relentless advance, and humanity's children, these remarkable pioneers floating in their cocoons of light, might be the universe's last, best hope for survival. The truth was out now. The real question was, what would humanity do with it? Hunters in the dark. The waiting was the hardest part. Hours had passed since Admiral Harrison's last transmission, and the purifier ships maintained their attack positions around the station. Sarah paced the bridge of the stellar horizon, every muscle tense as she watched the tactical display. Any word from Earth Command? She asked Yuki for what felt like the 100th time. Nothing yet, Captain. But we're picking up increased comm traffic between the purifier ships. They're planning something. The luminary's presence brushed against Sarah's mind. They seek to divide us. Small vessels approach from the dark side of the station. Sarah spun toward the tactical display. Marcus scanned the station's shadow. Multiple signatures, he confirmed. Stealth shuttles, probably carrying strike teams. They're using the station's mass to mask their approach. Sarah's jaw tightened. Of course, Harrison wouldn't wait for authorization. He was creating a fait accompli. Once his teams were inside the station, Earth Command would have no choice but to support a full military operation. "Sound General Quarters," she ordered, "and get me a secure channel to the Luminary Command Center." The bridge erupted into action as alarm klaxons blared. Through their mental link, Sarah could feel the Luminary mobilizing throughout the station, their crystalline forms shifting into defensive configurations. But they were guardians, not warriors. Their primary concern was protecting the children. "We cannot stop them without harm," the Luminary communicated. "Violence against your kind risks everything we have built." "Then we'll have to be smarter than them," Sarah replied. "Marcus, what's the status of those genetic scans we took earlier?" Her science officer's fingers flew across his console. "Complete data on all 47 children, including their original medical conditions and current evolutionary status. Get it ready to broadcast, along with personal identification data. The moment those strike teams breach the station, I want every parent on Earth to know their dead child is alive and being saved by the Luminary." A new alert flashed on the tactical display. The stealth shuttles had reached the station's outer hull and were preparing to breach. Sarah watched as the purifier vessels adjusted their positions, ready to provide covering fire if needed. "Captain," Yuki called out, "we're being hailed again. It's Harrison. Put him through." The Admiral's face appeared, his expression harder than ever. "Last chance, Captain. Withdraw your vessel and stand down." "You know I can't do that, Admiral. Just like you know those children aren't victims. They're humanity's future. They're human beings being experimented on by aliens." Harrison snapped. "Whatever these Luminary have told you, whatever they've shown you, it's a lie. They're grooming our children to be weapons." "You're wrong." Sarah's voice was steel. "And I can prove it, Marcus." Her science officer nodded, and the genetic data began streaming alongside Harrison's image. "These are the medical records of every child in this station. Terminal conditions, genetic disorders that our medicine couldn't cure. The Luminary didn't steal them, they saved them. And now they're helping them become something more, something that could save us all." Pretty words don't change the fact that aliens are manipulating human DNA. "No," Sarah agreed, "but this might." She nodded to Marcus again, and new data appeared. Detailed scans of the void, its inexorable advance through space, and the devastating wake it left behind. "This is what the Luminary are preparing us for. This is why those children are so important." Harrison studied the data, his expression unchanging. But Sarah saw the flicker of doubt in his eyes. "Even if this threat is real," he said slowly, "we can't trust aliens to." Alarms screamed across every console. "Multiple breaches," Marcus shouted. "Strike teams are entering the station." Through their mental link, Sarah felt the Luminary's response. Not anger or aggression, but a deep sadness. They do not understand that time grows short. The void approaches faster than we predicted. Sarah's blood ran cold. "How much time?" "Months, not years. Your children are not yet ready." On the screen, Harrison was barking orders to his teams. Sarah could hear weapons fire in the background of their transmissions as they encountered the station's automated defenses. "Admiral," she tried one last time, "you have to stop this. The void isn't just some distant threat. It's coming, and those children are our best hope for survival." "What I have to do," Harrison replied, "is secure this station and those children. Whatever happens next will be decided by Earth Command, not you, and certainly not these aliens." The transmission cut off, and Sarah turned to her crew. "Options." Marcus spoke first. "The station's design is organic. If we can access its neural pathways, we might be able to isolate the strike teams without harming them." "Do it," Sarah ordered. "Yuki, get ready to broadcast everything. The genetic data, the medical records, the void scans. The moment those teams reach the children, I want every news outlet on Earth lighting up with the truth. There is another way, the luminary suggested. The children begin to wake. Perhaps they should see for themselves what their gift can do. Sarah hesitated. The children's abilities were still developing, untested. Using them now could be dangerous. But as she watched more strike teams breach the station's hull, she realized they were running out of choices. "Do it," she said, "but keep them safe." Throughout the station, suspension fields began to power down. Children opened their eyes, their skin shimmering with bioluminescent patterns that matched the luminary's crystalline forms. As their consciousness expanded, connecting with the station's systems, the very walls seemed to pulse with new energy. The strike teams found their weapons powering down, their comm systems filling with the laughter of children they had thought long dead. And in every corridor, every chamber, the station itself came alive with memories, not just of the children's time with the luminary, but of their lives before, their families, their struggles against diseases that should have killed them. Sarah watched through the station's sensors as hardened soldiers stopped in their tracks, confronted not with alien monsters, but with living proof of miracles they couldn't deny. "Captain," Yuki called out, her voice trembling with emotion, "we're receiving a priority transmission from Earth Command." The next few moments would determine not just the fate of these children, but possibly the future of humanity itself. Sarah straightened her uniform and took a deep breath. Put it through. The bridge between worlds. The face that appeared on the main screen wasn't what Sarah expected. Instead of a stern military official, she found herself looking at Dr. Elena Santos, Earth's leading expert in xenobiology and human evolution. The scientist's dark eyes were intense with barely contained excitement. "Captain Chen," Santos began, "I've reviewed the data you've transmitted. The genetic modifications the luminary have achieved. They're extraordinary. Not random mutations, but targeted evolutionary advancement." Before Sarah could respond, a new voice cut in, "Which doesn't change the fact that they've been experimenting on human children." The camera pulled back to reveal General Michelle Zhang of Earth Command, her expression carefully neutral. "Admiral Harrison's concerns are not without merit." "With respect, General," Santos countered, "these aren't experiments. The luminary have managed to activate dormant portions of human DNA, sections we've always assumed were junk code. They're not changing who these children are. They're helping them become who they were always meant to be." Through the mental link, Sarah felt a surge of approval from the luminary, the one called Santos Understands. Show them more. Around the station, the awakened children were doing exactly that. Their consciousness, enhanced by the luminary's care, reached out through the station's systems. Walls became windows into other dimensions, showing realities that human science had only theorized about. The strike teams, their weapons forgotten, stood transfixed as the children revealed wonders beyond imagination. "General," Sarah said, "I'm sending you a live feed. What you're about to see isn't a trick or alien manipulation. This is human potential, awakened." The feed showed a young girl, no more than 7, her skin glowing with bioluminescent patterns. As they watched, she reached out with her mind, connecting with the station's ancient technology. Star maps materialized around her, but these weren't simple holographic displays. They were windows into real-time events happening light years away. "Impossible," someone whispered on the Earth Command channel. "No," Santos breathed. "It's evolution. The luminary didn't just save these children. They helped them develop abilities that humanity might not have achieved for thousands of years of natural evolution." Another child, a boy of perhaps 10, demonstrated his gift. Under his mental direction, the station's organic architecture began to shift and reform, creating new pathways and chambers. He wasn't just controlling the technology. He was communicating with it, understanding it on a fundamental level that even the luminary found remarkable. "They learned faster than we anticipated," the luminary communicated to Sarah. "The threat of conflict has accelerated their development." General Zhang leaned forward, her composure cracking slightly as she watched the children work. "And this void you've warned us about, these abilities will help us fight it." "Not just fight it," Sarah replied. "Understand it. The void isn't just destroying matter, it's unraveling the very fabric of space-time. These children, with their enhanced abilities to perceive and manipulate higher dimensions, might be our only hope of finding a way to stop it." The station shuddered suddenly, and new alarms blared. "Energy surge," Marcus called out. "Something's happening with the children." Sarah watched in awe as the 47 children, scattered throughout the station, began to work in concert. Their individual powers merged, creating a field of pure energy that enveloped the entire structure. Through their combined consciousness, they reached out across space, across dimensions. And they found something. Images flooded every screen, every mental link. The void, seen not just in 3 dimensions but in all its horrifying complexity. It wasn't just a force of destruction, it was a wound in reality itself, a cosmic injury that had been spreading for millennia. "My God," Santos whispered, "they're not just seeing it, they're understanding it. The patterns, the underlying mathematics." The children's voices, joined in a chorus that transcended normal speech, echoed through the station. "It can be healed. The universe is like us. It can evolve, adapt, grow stronger, but not alone. Never alone." Sarah felt tears in her eyes as she finally understood what the luminary had known all along. These children weren't just humanity's next step forward. They were the universe's way of healing itself. Through them, through the merger of human potential and luminary wisdom, there was hope. General John was silent for a long moment, watching as the children continued their work, their combined consciousness reaching across space and time. Finally, she spoke. "Admiral Harrison, stand down. All purifier forces, withdraw to minimum safe distance." "General," Harrison began to protest. "That's an order, Admiral." "Dr. Santos, how quickly can you get to the station? We need to understand exactly what's happening here." "I can be ready to leave within the hour," Santos replied, already rising from her seat. The general turned her attention back to Sarah. "Captain Chen, you and your crew have just rewritten humanity's future. I hope you understand the responsibility that comes with that." Sarah looked at the children, their faces serene as they explored realities beyond human comprehension. She thought of the void, of the luminary centuries of preparation, of humanity's small but crucial role in the cosmic dance of evolution. "Yes, General," she replied. "I think we're beginning to understand." The bridge is built, the luminary communicated, their mental voice filled with joy and pride. But the true work begins now. As the purifier ships began their withdrawal, Sarah watched the children continue their exploration of dimensions beyond human understanding. The station pulsed with energy, with life, with possibility. This wasn't just first contact, or the next step in human evolution. This was the moment humanity truly joined the cosmic community, not as conquerors or victims, but as healers. The bridge between worlds was open, and through it, the future beckoned. Legacy of Stars. 3 days had passed since the confrontation with the purifiers, and the ancient station had transformed into a hub of frenetic activity. Dr. Santos and her team of scientists worked alongside the luminary, documenting and studying the children's rapidly evolving abilities. The station's corridors buzzed with a mix of human voices and the crystalline resonance of luminary communication. Sarah stood in what they'd started calling the Nexus, watching as another group of parents was reunited with their children. The joy and wonder on their faces as they saw their once dying children now thriving, glowing with health and possibility, never failed to move her. "It's remarkable," Dr. Santos said, joining her at the observation window. "Every test we run reveals new aspects of their abilities. They're not just interfacing with the technology, they're expanding its capabilities, pushing the boundaries of what even the luminary thought possible." Through their mental link, Sarah felt the luminary's agreement. They dream bigger than we dared. Perhaps that is humanity's greatest gift. the ability to see beyond what is to what could be. A flash of movement caught Sarah's attention. Below them, in one of the larger chambers, a group of children had gathered. Their skins sparkled with bioluminescent patterns as they joined their consciousness, creating a shared visualization of the void's advance. "How long do we have?" Sarah asked quietly. Santos consulted her tablet. "Based on the children's calculations, the void will reach the edge of our galaxy in approximately 3 months. But," she paused, a smile playing at her lips, "they think they've found a way to stop it." Before Sarah could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. "Captain." Marcus's voice crackled over the comm. "Multiple ships dropping out of FTL. It's representatives from every major Earth nation. And they're not alone." Sarah rushed to the nearest viewport. Santos closed behind. Her breath caught in her throat. Dozens of ships filled the space around the station. Earth vessels of every size and configuration, but also ships of clearly alien design. Some were organic, like living creatures swimming through space. Others were geometric, defying human understanding of engineering. "They come," the luminary explained. "Other guardians, other seekers. Your children have called to them across the stars." The largest of the alien vessels, a structure that seemed to be made of pure light, moved closer to the station. A transmission cut through all frequencies, all mental channels. "People of Earth," a voice that somehow combined sound, light, and pure thought announced, "we are the collective. For millennia, we have watched the void's advance, searching for a way to heal the wound in reality. Now, through the combined evolution of humanity and luminary wisdom, we may have found it." The children gathered in the chamber below began to glow brighter, their consciousness reaching out to connect with the alien minds above. Through their shared perception, Sarah and everyone on the station witnessed a vision of possibility. The void, not destroyed but transformed, its entropy converted into new forms of energy, new pathways of evolution. "This is why the luminary chose these children," Santos breathed. "Their genetic conditions, the very things that were killing them, they weren't flaws. They were the first signs of humanity's next evolutionary leap." Admiral Harrison's voice cut through the comm channel. "And what happens to humanity while these children reshape the universe? What happens to our independence, our sovereignty?" "We grow up," Sarah replied simply. "We become part of something bigger than ourselves. Isn't that what we've always dreamed of, Admiral? Finding our place among the stars." The chamber below erupted in light as the children began their work in earnest. Their combined consciousness, augmented by luminary technology and supported by the gathered alien races, reached across space and time. Sarah felt their determination, their joy in creation, their absolute certainty that they could heal the cosmic wound. Through their eyes, through their enhanced perception, she saw the universe as they saw it, not as a cold, empty void, but as a living tapestry of interconnected consciousness. The void wasn't just a threat to physical existence. It was a disruption in the very story of cosmic evolution. And these children, these remarkable bridges between species and realities, knew how to edit that story. "Look," Santos whispered, pointing to her instruments. "The station, it's changing." The ancient structure was indeed transforming, its organic architecture flowing like liquid metal, responding to the children's will. But this wasn't just a physical change. The station was becoming a focal point, a lens through which the combined power of multiple civilizations could be focused. The luminary's mental voice resonated with pride and purpose. This was always the goal. Not merely to save these children, but to create a nexus where all species could work together. The bridge between worlds becomes a bridge between possibilities. Sarah watched as the gathered ships began to align themselves around the station, creating a pattern that hurt her eyes to look at directly. Energy flowed between them, channeled through the children's consciousness, guided by their intuitive understanding of realities beyond normal human perception. In the space between spaces, something began to change. The children's voices, united in purpose, echoed through every mind. The universe is not just matter and energy. It's stories. Its dreams. It's the collective will of every consciousness that has ever looked up at the stars and wondered. The void is part of that story, but not its ending. Never its ending. Light bloomed in impossible colors as the combined power of multiple civilizations, focused through the children's unique abilities, reached across the galaxy toward the approaching void. This wasn't a weapon or a shield. It was an invitation to change, to evolve, to become something new. Sarah felt tears on her cheeks as she watched humanity's children lead the way into a future no one had imagined possible. They weren't just saving existence. They were transforming it, teaching the universe itself how to adapt and grow. "Captain," Marcus called out, his voice filled with awe, "you need to see this." On every screen, in every mind, they watched as the void began to change. The nothingness that had threatened to consume everything was itself being consumed, not by destruction, but by creation. Where there had been entropy, new patterns formed. Where there had been death, possibility bloomed. The children had done it. They had shown the universe how to heal itself. As the gathered ships began to power down, as parents embraced their glowing children, as scientists and soldiers alike tried to comprehend what they had just witnessed, Sarah felt the luminary's final message. This is not an ending, but a beginning. Your children have opened the door to a new age of cosmic evolution. The legacy of stars continues, brighter than ever. Sarah looked out at the transformed space, at the ships of a dozen alien civilizations, at the children who had bridged the gap between what was and what could be. Humanity had found its place in the universe, not through conquest or submission, but through the simple, profound act of growing into something more. The future stretched before them, infinite in its possibilities, and humanity's children would light the way.